Hi, this is Nathan Oxenfeld with Integral Eyesight Improvement in North Carolina. Today I'd like to express my gratitude, share a few updates about the next couple of months, and answer some frequently asked questions about the Bates method and natural vision improvement. So first off, I recently reached somewhat of a milestone with one of my YouTube videos reaching 500,000 views. And I remember when I was driving up to the top of that mountain to film that video, I never thought that 500,000 people would end up watching it. So I want to take this opportunity to express my gratitude and to thank you for watching the videos that I create, for subscribing to my channel to get access to all the new videos that I'll be creating in the future, and for sharing the videos with your friends and family. And it makes me happy to see people enjoying my content and interacting with the videos and posting comments and sharing their success stories, because that's why I originally started making videos in the first place. Because once the Bates method helped me improve my vision and be able to see clearly without my glasses, I didn't want to just keep it to myself. I wanted to share it with more people. I wanted to give more people access to high quality content for free, to make it as accessible and easy to actually experience some of these benefits yourself. Because I remember when I was first starting off, there were times when I felt like I was on this path alone. I didn't have any support or assistance along my journey. That is, until I got the help from my Bates method coach, Dr. Tabor. And working with her eventually motivated me to become a certified Bates method coach and teacher as well. So it's been quite a journey going from me just doing this for myself to help my own vision, to actually growing a community of people around the world who are also interested in improving their vision and actually having the opportunity to assist people through the process, create a whole workbook showing you how to do it, creating online courses, and working with people one-on-one. And it's been about 5 years since I started my business and started coaching other people and creating all these videos and podcasts and building things from the ground up. Which brings me to the next topic of this video, which is an update on the future of my business and this community, before I answer some frequently asked questions. So some of you may know that I released the new updated edition of my book, Give Up Your Glasses for Good, in May 2018. And did a 1-month East Coast US book tour for the month of June. Well, now I'm getting ready to do a second book tour of the year on the West Coast, primarily in the Pacific Northwest. It's going to start off with a vision conference that I'm helping to organize, and I'll be attending in the end of September. And then throughout the month of October, I'm going to be offering vision improvement events and workshops in Seattle, Washington, Victoria, and Vancouver, British Columbia, as well as Portland, Oregon. So I'll be adding all the details about the events to my website, and I'll add some links below this video in case you live in that area and you'd like to come meet me in person, participate in some events, or get a copy of my new book signed. Now, after the book tour, I'm actually going to be doing a few months of traveling. I'm going to be going down to New Zealand and Australia for the months of November, December, and January. And this is going to be sort of a combination of a personal trip, but also a work-related trip, in that I'm still going to be creating content and providing support for my students while I'm traveling. But I also sort of see it as a way for me to get some perspective at this 5-year mark, to sort of press pause a little bit and to refocus on the direction that this is going, to make it as good as possible. So I've got a couple of projects I'll be working on and some big ideas that I'm developing that I'll be excited to share with you once I return. And speaking of which, the trip will also sort of be a way for me to get a little clearer on where to return to. Because I've actually recently been going through some significant life changes, and I'm in somewhat of a transition at the moment. So there's a chance that I will end up moving back to Asheville, North Carolina, which is where I started this vision practice and began building up this business up in the mountains of North Carolina. But I'm also open to other options being presented to me in the moment. As someone who really likes to plan things a lot, it's a little scary to not know exactly what the future holds, but I'm going into this adventure with faith that the answers will be shown to me if I take those risks and put myself out there. And going to New Zealand and Australia has actually been a dream of mine since I was a little kid. So I've had this vision in my mind for many, many years of visiting these countries, but I've never followed through with it. I see this as an opportunity to actually follow my dream and to live my vision, to actually make this thought that has been in my mind since I was a little kid become a reality. And I just want to point out the fact that vision improvement sometimes involves doing that, living your vision, getting into alignment with your vision of your future, or going after your dreams and aspirations. It's not just about doing eye exercises or doing the physical Bates method techniques. Those are a part of it, but I'm speaking to some more subtle concepts on the mental, psychological, and emotional levels. Because if I have this dream of going to these countries and I have this vision of something that I want to do with my life, but I don't act on it and I don't do it, I won't actually see it happen. And that also creates some sort of an internal conflict because what I'm seeing is not reflecting what I want to be seeing. So I want to present this to you as an opportunity to reflect on your own dreams and your own visions of your future, of places you want to go, or things that you want to do, or people that you want to meet or be around, or just things you want to see happen. And I want you to get really clear about those, maybe write them down as a list. I remember I wrote in my little journal when I was in middle school or something, like life goals, go to Australia. And so I wrote that down knowing that one day I wanted to see myself in Australia. So I want you to get clear on your goals and your dreams and then start to figure out ways to make it happen, to make it a reality. One step at a time. You know, it's taken me a long time to actually make this dream a reality. And so it might not happen overnight for you, but if you know the dream that you're going towards, you can start to make daily changes or start to make little baby steps closer and closer to that goal or to that dream until it becomes a reality and you're literally seeing it unfold before your own eyes. So hopefully, me following my dream and living my vision can act as some sort of inspiration for you to do the same in your life. So I'll also be adding more information about this Southern Hemisphere trip to my website, and I'll be hopefully creating some videos and some podcasts and more content and things as I travel to share with you, to share my trip with you. I'm also going to be posting lots of pictures on my Instagram, so if you're not following me on Instagram, you can search for Integral Eyesight, and I'll take you along with me on this trip to these new places. Now, the other thing I'd like to do in this video is to answer some frequently asked questions about natural vision improvement, about the Bates method, about glasses. As you can imagine, with more eyeballs watching my videos, that also means more comments and more emails that people send me with questions. And I really try to do my best to stay caught up with emails that people send me, and I try to respond to lots of YouTube comments. But I figured that a more efficient way to answer these questions, instead of going through and answering each individual one at a time, is to create more frequently asked questions videos to answer multiple questions at once. And I released a frequently asked questions video a while ago, but that was the only one I did. And so I want to start doing this as a more regular basis. And I was thinking about maybe even doing some sort of YouTube live video or Instagram live video where I'm taking questions in real time as well. But just know that even if I don't answer your specific comment or email, I do read most of them, and I pick up on trends of what seems to be a popular question or something that I need to work on clarifying even more for you. So I just want to go through a short list of questions that I've been seeing popping up under lots of my videos just to clarify them and help make this process of natural vision improvement even easier for you with less doubt and questions in your mind. So one question people often ask is, how do I use these videos? What's the best way to watch these videos? Because over the past 4 or 5 years, I've released a good amount of videos, and you might be confused of, okay, well, which one do I watch first, or is there a particular order to watch them in? And if you go to my website, there's a section on the website with videos embedded on it from top to bottom, and I did put them in somewhat of a sensical order to potentially watch them in a chronological order. Also, a good starting point might be that video that got 500,000 views, the daily vision routine video, because with that video, what I do is I tie lots of the different practices together that I teach in the separate videos as individual practices. So I string them together and give you a recommendation of how to actually infuse these practices into your morning, into your afternoon, into your evening. And so I mention a lot of different practices in that video. And if you're not familiar with one of the practices in that video, then you can click the link to watch that video about palming, or about sunning, or about swinging, or about nose drawing, or about vision stretching, to learn more about what that practice is and how it works. But keep in mind that I made that daily routine video after I made all the other ones that teach the practices. So if you don't watch the videos that teach the practices, the daily vision routine video might not make as much sense if you're not as familiar with them. I mean, I do demonstrate them in that video and give you a little refresher of what they are and how they look. But for the more in-depth description, I'd recommend that you check out the individual videos that teach the separate practices. Now, also keep in mind that the best way to figure out the correct order to learn the practices and apply them is actually to take my online course, the Holistic Vision Program, because that's a 6-week course, and I made that with a lot of intention of this is exactly what you need to be doing in the first week of your practice, this is exactly what you need to be doing in the second week, the third week, the fourth week, and there's no specific schedule or timeline, so you could do it longer, than 6 weeks. You could do it in 6 months. You could spend a whole month doing the first video, the whole second month doing it, so you can go through at your own pace. But that's really going to give you the clearest roadmap of how to navigate from depending on glasses to being able to see clearly without them. And at this point, I've released 25 episodes of my podcast, the Naked Eye Podcast. And so I see that as another supplement to the YouTube videos, as audios that you can listen to while you're commuting or while you're palming. And these are just further ways to understand how the Bates method works, the correct approach to do the Bates method, because some people do it incorrectly and don't get results and then give up on it and think that it doesn't work. And more, I'm interviewing other Bates method teachers, other holistic practitioners, just to expose you to new ways of thinking about it and other people's specialties and approaches, in addition to the way that I teach people how to relax their eyes and their mind and learn the Bates method. But speaking of learning the practices and doing the practices, the next question that I see a lot of people ask is, what about my glasses? Am I supposed to wear my glasses or my contacts when I do the practices or not? And you're not supposed to. All the Bates method practices are designed to be done with the naked eye. That's why it's called the Naked Eye Podcast and the Naked Eye Book Tour, is because we're trying to regain the eye's natural ability to focus without artificial lenses, without correction from prescriptions. So if you wear contacts, you need to take them out before you do your practices, or you can do your practices first thing when you wake up in the morning before you put your contacts in. In general, though, I usually recommend that people switch over from contacts to glasses so that you have more freedom to take them off and put them back on throughout the day, so you can do your practices more as well. That was the very first step that I took in my own process, was quitting my contacts. The first day I started practicing the Bates method was the last day I wore contacts. So I switched back to glasses so that I could take them off whenever I didn't need them, and I could put them on when I did. So that brings me to the next question, which is, Am I allowed to put my glasses back on when I'm done the practices? And yes, absolutely. A lot of people interpret the Bates method as a way to just quit cold turkey from the glasses and just go with the naked eye from the very start. And I do want you to do your practices without the glasses. And I do want you to start to experiment with spending more time without glasses, even when you're not doing practices, when you're just relaxing at home, or you're doing some chores around the house, or you're going on a walk, you're walking your dog, or any time that you feel like you don't necessarily need to see super sharp details, you can actually take your glasses off as long as you're not straining. Because if you take your glasses off because you think, oh, this is how I improve my vision, but then you squint or you stare or you strain or you stress mentally, then it might just make the problem worse. You need to be focusing on learning how to dynamically relax. In other words, learn how to keep your eyes relaxed as you're using them, especially if your vision is blurry. Because sometimes when you see blur, it makes you want to strain or squint or do something consciously or put effort into your eyes to make it look clearer. But that's not what the Bates method is about. The Bates method is learning a new way to focus through relaxation by not doing anything, by letting go and allowing your eyes to learn how to focus again by themselves without you controlling them. But when you start to do an activity that does require sharp, precise vision, you need to put your glasses back on so that you can accomplish that task in a relaxed way. So if you're farsighted and you're like, oh, I want to improve my near vision, so I'm going to start to try and read without my glasses, and it's really blurry up close, and it's creating a lot of stress and tension, and you're struggling a lot, that's just making your vision worse. So it's okay to put your reading glasses on to read something if you need to for work or for school or something. But when you look in the distance, you can take the glasses off, or maybe when you're reading something that doesn't have a certain level of stress attached to it, you're reading something for your enjoyment, or you're treating it like a fun experiment at home, then you can start to try and play around with focusing on things up close in a relaxed way without glasses. If you're nearsighted and your vision's blurry far away, and you're like, oh, I need to take my glasses off to improve my vision, so now I'm going to drive to work, that's going to not be a very relaxing experience. You're going to be really stressed, and you're not going to feel safe, and that's just going to make your vision worse because you're straining your mind and you're straining your eyes. So you need to wear your glasses when you need to see clearly in the distance. But then when you do up-close activities, maybe you can take your glasses off and you can function just fine. Maybe when you read a book, you can do it without glasses, even if it means holding it a little bit closer than you're used to with glasses on. Or when you're at home and you're in a relaxed state, you can start to experiment with looking at things in the distance, like eye charts or pictures or paintings or three-dimensional objects out the window without your glasses, and experimenting with the Bates principles to see if you can start to experience these clear flashes and this new way of focusing through dynamic relaxation and central fixation. Centralization is really the key to seeing clearly. And I have a whole video explaining that. So if you haven't checked that out and you're trying to do the Bates method, but you're not centralizing, you're kind of missing the mark. You need to be centralizing right from the start in all of the practices you're doing and pretty much during all of your visual activities with or without glasses. You need to understand what central fixation is or centralization is and start to understand that that's the only way you'll be able to get that clear, sharp detail vision back without glasses. So another question about the glasses is people ask, well, if I'm improving my vision naturally, aren't my glasses going to be too strong in a matter of time, or won't they hold me back? And yes, you need to be decreasing your prescription as your vision is improving. So I didn't just go from almost -4 glasses with almost -2 astigmatism to no glasses. I used a couple of weaker prescription glasses as stepping stones on my way to clear vision without glasses. So I got a pair of -3.75, -3.5, -2, and then I was able to go without glasses. So I refer to this concept as training glasses, kind of like training wheels. You don't just learn to ride a bike right away. You need to ride it with training wheels first before you can ride it without them. So it's going to be easier for you to use training glasses as training wheels to help you be able to see without glasses eventually. And I have a whole video explaining how to use training glasses and how to get affordable training glasses online if you're nearsighted, or you can always get weaker prescription reading glasses at drugstores and pharmacies if you're farsighted. Another question people ask is, how long should I do the practices and how often? And that makes me think of what my vision teacher told me, which is that boredom kills vision. So I want you to do your practices forever how long feels enjoyable and fun and interesting and engaging. And if you ever start to feel bored with it or uninterested in it, then that's a sign to stop the practice and maybe move on to another one. Or maybe stop the practice for that moment and go about your day, and then come back to it later when you're feeling more energized or more interested or engaged. Because honestly, improving your vision has a lot more to do with adjusting your daily vision habits when you're not doing vision practices, when you're on the computer, when you're watching this video right now, when you're driving, when you're at school, when you're at work, when you're in a social situation, when you're in a stressful situation, when you're relaxing. It's about becoming aware of your vision habits all day long, and not just about, oh, I did an hour of vision practices today, and then when you stop the practices, you just totally forget about the good vision habits. So I just want you to be clear that the purpose of the vision practices is to teach you the underlying good vision habits, like relaxation, centralization, shifting, blinking, adjusting focal distance, and resting the eyes more. And those are things that you can be doing all day long during any visual activity. To come back to the question, I would recommend that you start kind of small. Just start with 5 or 10 or 15 minutes a day devoted to doing specific vision practices. And then I just want you to be paying attention to how you're using your eyes the rest of the day. And see if you can catch yourself doing bad vision habits like squinting, staring, not adjusting your focal distance enough, not blinking enough, not breathing deeply, and not centralizing, so you're diffusing out and trying to see too much at once. Catch yourself when you're doing those things and immediately become aware of it and replace it with its opposite. Start blinking. Close your eyes. Take a little break. Look away from the screen. Look out a window. Look in the distance. Look at something up close. Relax and centralize. And over time, then you can start to extend the amount of practices you do as you learn more, as you understand the method in more depth, and you're integrating the habits in the other parts of your day. So just one specific example, one of the very first videos that I filmed was the long swing video that shows you the physical swinging practice, where you're either swinging your body side to side or swinging your head side to side. It's not just about moving the body, it's about what you see. It's about getting the world to look like it's moving in the opposite direction that you're moving. So the camera, when I turn my head this way, looks like the camera's over there now, and I turn my head this way, and the camera's over there now. So it's, as I swing my head, it's going from my left peripheral field to my right peripheral field, and it almost creates this pendulum-like movement in the opposite direction that my head is moving. And then if I close my eyes, I can keep remembering that and picturing that and visualizing that movement. Not only the camera, but everything else in the room also seems to be rotating and swinging in a pendulum-like way as I remember it. So you need to be doing that as a practice for a few minutes when you wake up in the morning, so that you can be like, oh yeah, look at all this movement, everything is moving around me. And then when you stop the practice and you go walk into your kitchen to make breakfast, you're supposed to continue to see things moving around you as you are moving and walking and turning your head around all day long. As you commute to work or school, you can notice that things are moving backwards as you're moving forwards. And if being at school or work involves stationary activities like reading or writing or typing, it's your job to infuse more movement into that activity so that you can continue to see things moving all day long. Dr. Bates said that you need to see things moving all day long from the moment you open your eyes in the morning to the moment you close your eyes at night. And even when you close your eyes at night to go to sleep, you can keep thinking about the movement because you don't have to just see the movement, you can imagine the movement, and that is very relaxing to your visual system. So that's an example of how I want you to apply the long swing practice to this bigger movement habit that you have access to all day long. That way, you can turn other activities into vision practices. And then you're not so stressed about, oh, did I do my long swing practice today? Because you've been swinging things all day long just by living your life. It's the same thing with centralization. Centralization is not just a thing that you do when you're doing your specific vision practices. It's supposed to be the new way that you see the world all the time for the rest of your life. You're learning these new correct vision habits to be able to see clearly well into old age. Now this brings me to the final question that I would like to answer today. And like I said, I want to be doing more of these in the future, so if you have more questions, let me know. I'll take note of them and I'll answer them in the next frequently asked question video. But a common question I see a lot of people asking, and it's one that I had myself when I first started this, was, does this really work? Does the Bates method work? Does it allow you to get rid of your glasses, or to even be able to decrease your prescription or reverse eye diseases? And I think you already know what my answer is going to be. But before I answer it, I want to turn that question right back around to you and ask you what you think. What do you think? What do you believe? Do you think it's possible for your eyes to heal and rehabilitate and to be able to remember how to focus like they used to before you got glasses? Or do you fundamentally believe that it's just not possible, that you're just a hopeless case and you're going to have to depend on these crutches until the day you die? You know, as you hear me say those two different opposing beliefs, which one rings true to you? Which one resonates with you? Which one are you gravitating towards? And what I want to emphasize to you is that no matter what I say, no matter what the people in the comments say, no matter what Dr. Bates said 100 years ago, and no matter what your eye doctor says in the present moment, when it comes down to it, they're your eyes, and it's your brain, and it's your vision. Nobody else in the world has your eyes or your brain or your vision. It's yours. It's uniquely yours. And your personal experience of your sense of sight is the highest level of proof for you of what is actually possible. Not what you're hearing through your ears from other people who have their own vision, their own eyes, their own brain, their own beliefs, trying to put that on you. What I'm inviting you to do is to connect with your true vision, your true nature of what you really believe is possible. So like I said, when I first learned about the Bates method, and even when I started trying it out myself and reading books about it, I had a lot of doubts. I was very skeptical about it because I wasn't seeing it happen through my eyes yet. And so I wasn't sure if it was going to work. But I remember the moment I started having clear flashes and I started actually seeing things with more detail at much farther distances than I ever had since I was in single digits, I was totally on board. I was fully in belief that this was possible because I just saw it happen through my own eyes. And even when I went into my eye doctor for an eye exam, and he said, oh, your prescription is lower for myopia, and your astigmatism has decreased, that was the first time in my life that my prescription had gone down instead of up. Obviously, I was very excited about that, to see that objective feedback from my eye doctor. But when it came down to it, he said that it wasn't really possible to go all the way with it, or to fully improve my vision, or ever not to need glasses. But what he told me was going directly against what I was literally experiencing. And so I took that statement with a grain of salt, and I said, and I appreciated his opinion and his belief, because that's his background and his training. But he couldn't take that experience away from me. And from then on, it didn't matter what anybody said about my vision, because every day I was working on improving my vision, and I was seeing the proof of that in my vision. And it's kind of hard to argue the fact that when I first started this, I could barely make out the top lines on the eye chart, could hardly even recognize that the smaller ones on the bottom were even letters in English. They were just these black blobs that were all doubled and tripled and fuzzy and indistinguishable. But with practice and time and patience and dedication and belief in myself and in this method, I got to the point where I could easily make out the letters on the 2020 line, then the 2015 line, and then even the 2010 line. So if you've started this journey yourself with similar intentions that I had, but you have experienced resistance from others, or you haven't gotten support from your eye doctor, or your friends, or your family, I invite you to look within yourself and really figure out what is actually true to you, and to remain steadfast and confident in yourself and your own ability to heal. Because those negative things that people say, or if they don't support you or tell you it's not possible, guess what? That's not helping you improve your vision. That might actually hold you back or backtrack you. So I'm here to tell you that it is possible to improve your vision naturally, and that the Bates method can really work if you do it correctly. And if you do it correctly, you'll experience flashes of clarity every single day of your life, until that level of clarity that you experience temporarily eventually becomes permanent. That becomes your new normal baseline vision, and your vision might still fluctuate. It might still get a little blurry if you're stressing out, or if you didn't get enough sleep, or if your diet is off. But the Bates method allows you to reclaim your own power, reclaim your own senses, including the sense of sight. And as I was going through this journey, I definitely had better vision days and worse vision days. I had optimistic days and pessimistic days. And on the days where I felt like it wasn't working, or I felt like giving up, or felt like I was doubting myself, it helped me so much to read other people's success stories, to re-inspire myself, to get re-motivated, to pick up my practice the next day, and to stick with it for however long it took for me to see clearly without depending on glasses. So I encourage you to do the same. I have a couple of case histories and success stories on my website. Even if you scroll through the comments underneath my videos, you'll see some examples of people sharing their own success stories. Dr. Bates's wife wrote an entire book called Stories from the Clinic, of case histories from all different types of vision problems and eye diseases from Dr. Bates's clinic. And every other Bates method teacher, my colleagues that also teach the Bates method, like my vision teacher and others that I'll probably link underneath this video, have their own set of case histories and success stories from the people that they've worked with on their websites. So all those examples of people who have succeeded with this, myself included, are people who got help along the way. They worked with a teacher. They worked with Dr. Bates. They took classes or lessons with a vision coach. They didn't just do it totally by themselves. It's like if you wanted to learn how to play the piano, you would learn it much faster and easier with the help of a piano teacher. Now, I'm not saying that there's not wonderful self-taught pianists and self-made athletes and people who do it on their own. And so it is possible to improve your vision on your own as well. I even just got tagged on Instagram by this guy who I've never met before. I've never worked with him, but he has used these videos on YouTube to replace his bad vision habits with good vision habits. And he filmed himself having a really nice experience of clear vision without glasses. And it's actually pretty inspiring to watch because it's almost emotional. It's like a mix of laughter and tears of just like joy of being able to see clearly after depending on glasses for many years. And I messaged him and asked, how did you do this? What did you do? And he just said that he used the free materials that I've shared with the world, and he took it upon himself to go all the way with it on his own. So I'll share a link to that underneath this video if you want to check that out. But just a heads up, since he was very excited and very passionate about it, there is some profane language in it, so just a heads up on that. But that sort of encapsulates the ecstasy and the joy that comes with improving your vision. I'm actually leading my first personal one-on-one 7-day vision retreat with a student right now who flew down to my area to work with me every day for 7 days in a row to really jumpstart his practice and get some big improvements in a short period of time. And after our third session yesterday, he texted me saying, "It feels so good to see clearly." And he's doing really well with this. He's getting lots of clear flashes every single day. And it feels good. It is a feeling to be able to see clearly. And when you see blurry, it feels bad. It doesn't feel good. There's strain physically, there's stress mentally, and there's something out of balance internally, emotionally, or psychologically or spiritually. So going through this process of seeing more clearly involves a lot more than just fixing your eyes. It's relaxing your mind, getting better at handling stress and navigating stressful situations. And it's also about dealing with the emotions that caused the vision problem in the first place and get stirred up as you work on improving your vision. And it's also about getting in alignment with yourself and living your vision of your future. So hopefully I was able to clarify some fundamental concepts for you today and answer some frequently asked questions that people ask when they're starting to learn about the Bates method or starting to apply the Bates method in their everyday life, and then they're not exactly sure about something or they have a question or a doubt about something. So like I said, I do aim to make more of these videos in the future. So if there's another question that you're just not sure about or you would like me to address or explain in more depth, please let me know and I will take that into account the next time I film another frequently asked question video. So once again, head over to my website, integraleyesight.com, for all the details about my West Coast book tour, my trip coming up to the Southern Hemisphere, and the next steps of integral eyesight improvement once I return. I'm excited for the next stage and to continue to grow this community and who knows, maybe even get my video to 1 million views. Because I really just want more people to know that these alternatives exist and know that they're simple and easy and accessible. Anybody can do them. So I'm very, very grateful for you watching this video and all my other videos. And I aim to continue to provide support for you as you navigate this journey from blurry vision to clear vision in the most effortless way possible. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.